Good night, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us on this meaningful and powerful event. I really feel that we are getting into something really powerful in this room. And yeah, I'm super happy and blessed to be here tonight. It means a lot of in my life, and I feel like we're gonna share a lot of in this event, and we're gonna get to know each other and feel free to participate. This is a conversation. We we are just gonna be sharing our stories, and hopefully someone connects with those. And feel free to raise your hand at any moment, participate. So we wanted to do it very dynamically. And for the people that are in the back, there are a few spots that are available. So feel free to come and sit. And yeah. So let's start introducing ourselves. Like, we just met a couple of minutes in the last days, and I'm very curious to know everyone in this panel. Vivian, how are you?
I'm good.
Could you tell us a little bit of your background? Where are you from? And yeah, let's start with that.
Sure. From my face, you can tell I come from Asia. I'm from mainland China. I immigrated here at 27 years old. I already worked a few years after graduation from university. And my husband and I decided to check out what other countries may look like. So we immigrated here, and then we know it's very difficult to doing professional, continue my career as an accountant. So we run convenience store for 10 years, and then he can handle it by himself, and I move on to get accounting diploma in Canada, and then starting looking for accounting job from very start point of junior accountant. And for the past 10 years, I changed a few jobs, and right now I'm working at City of Kelowna as a financial analyst. So I do have some story to share, and let's see what's throwing at me later.
Let's give applause to Vivian. And I really can start admiring Vivian for those experience. She resumed those meaningful and significant moments in her life very short. So let's just start getting deep in our conversation. Trophy, how are you?
Oh, I'm good.
I remember the day that we met because it was last week. But tell me a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Uganda. I lived in Kenya as well, so within East Africa, I would say, so East African, but I'm from Uganda. And I came here for school, at UBC. I studied economics, but my experience and my path has led me to become more of, I would say, a cultural enthusiast. In my studying with economics and coming here, because we were few African students, the creating community changed my perspective of how I would engage. Even in relation to economics, there's no economics without exchange. So the importance and value of intercultural exchange in expanding the human experience. So looking at the economy as culture is something that's very important to me. As equal or the same thing, the things we create, the way we engage as people, the way we move. So that's where a lot of my interests are. And within culture is story and art, but as a tool, not just as an edifice, something to look at, but as an everyday thing that weaves in our lives that sometimes we take for granted, but that is very important in our connection. So yes, yeah.
That's amazing, and
yeah.
Let's give applause to Trophy. I really connect with your story, because I'm not, I'm very involved in arts. I work with a lot with artists. Especially, I used to work in animation with a lot of drawing, and they put a lot of their story into that, and I see the impact on media content stories, and the important thing that I realized about this event and other events is that with conversations, we have the power to create new narratives. And for us as an immigrants, I think that's key to blend in the Canadian culture, but also to be empowered. Because sometimes we can lose our confidence. We can lose our personality when we move to a new world. But we're gonna get into that part in a few moments. Felipe,
Yes.
what's up?
Good.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Can you share a little bit about your background?
Yes.
Give a glimpse about you.
Sure. So I'm from Brazil. I was born in a city called Vitória, but I raised in a city called Porto Alegre, which is close to Argentina. Right, Paula?
You also
And-
drink mate, right?
Yes, we drink mate, which is a special tea, right? Chimarrão, correct. I have degree in business administration. I think I was 17 when I decided to move and live abroad for a while, and I start planning to live in England actually, and at that time, and I date that lovely woman there, and fell in love. So I postponed my dream to move. This one is recording, yeah, Juanita. And in 2018 we decided she bought my dream, and we decided to move her together with our kids to Canada. And for now that's everything that I have, and I can give you more information with the.
That's awesome,
Yeah.
powerful, and beautiful. Janet,
Hi.
how are you?
Good, thank you.
I'm super interested to get you to know you a little bit more. I did my research on you, but let's hear it from you.
Yeah, of course.
Where are you from? And
A little
let's
bit
start from
scared.
there.
So I'm from Chile. I moved to Canada about 11 years ago this year. I moved because I wanted to learn English. I had a very good job over there in the timber industry, which is nothing what I'm doing now, close to what I'm doing now. But I wanted to see the world, so I did it. I came with a working holiday for a year. That was my reason, learn the language, come back and keep growing in my industry over there. But then I fell in love with this country, the diversity, the opportunities, and all the doors start opening, and here I am after 11 years.
Oh. 11 years.
11 years.
11 years can be said very easy, but
Yeah,
there is a lot of story.
ups and
behind
downs,
that.
yes, yeah, it's not easy.
Oksana, we share a lot of in common, especially in the cat. Thank you very much for joining this panel. We feel blessed to have you. Can you share a little bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for inviting. I moved to Canada in 2008, so I don't even want to count how long time ago, but it still seems not so much. And I've just heard from my colleagues here, they plan to move. I never planned to move to another country, and it was a surprise from my husband, honestly. Yeah. I just followed my love. So he got a job offer, and it was a gift for me. I didn't actually consider it as a gift, It was a hard decision, but you know, when I came to Canada, as again you said, I just fall in love, and I didn't have that. You know, sometimes people when they immigrate, and it doesn't matter that was the goal or not. You know, some people they just have to. Some of them they are in depression or they you know face very tough situation. I was really, you know, I was fine. I was enjoying every day, you know, learning new environment, meeting new people, and but the biggest barrier was language, because as I said, I never expected to move to another country, and I never learned English back home. So I came here with a bachelor degree in linguistics, but in German and Czech. Yeah, and I never ever studied English before. And when I came to interpreter to you know translate my diploma, she just asked me, "Are you sure that you have to be here in Canada?" So and I'm here already.
Let's give up. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for start sharing those stories. I'm surprised, Oksana, what you have just shared, because honestly, I was like interviewing you, doing those videos, and I was in my head, oh, I wish I could have that amount of vocabulary that Oksana has. I wish I could be that well communicated with my communication. So all depends on the perceptions on others and how we feel as well. Thank you very much for sharing it. And I would like to, you touch another good point that I have here that I feel like it could be a good next point. Let's just start with the whys. Why we are here, why we come here. Oksana already shared a little bit of that. She wasn't expecting it. She wasn't looking for it. I'm just gonna share a little bit about it. I feel like I'm accomplished my mom's dream of being here. She sent all her siblings, or children, to this country. And I'm the youngest one, and I was the one who was able to stay here and immigrate as a permanent resident. But in my goal is to be able to help, provide, support my family as well, including my siblings, of course. Why, Vivian? Why are you here? And you could add something about what you were expecting about Canada.
It's not my mom, it's my dad. I remember when I was in English is the second language we learn at school, starting from junior high, senior high, and the university. I remember when in high school or in university, when I back home watching TV, with the language is English with subtitles, right? And my dad will keep on asking me, "Are you okay with that? Do you understand that?" So it's my dad really want to come out to go explore other countries, but at his generation, the opportunities are limited. But anyway, at that time, I don't feel it. I feel the pressure, the push that I am carrying my dad's dream. But unfortunately, when the immigration paper get approved, my dad already passed away. So although I'm here after 20 years, happily living in Canada, but he's not be able to visit me here, so I still have the sadness in my heart. Another reason is my generation have the opportunity to see the door of China open to the world. And then we do have the other friends older than us came to USA mostly. And then my husband and I also think, how about have a look if we can make it? So we tried. And then at that time, there are lots of immigration agents in the city, and we just pay the fee, and they handle all the work, and eventually the paper is approved. And then at that time, I'm still very young. It's a junior position at a big company. I have nothing to lose. So I said, just move, give a try. And to be honest, 50% of my friends or who I know immigrant came back to China. And there are good stories, bad stories, divorce, happy ending, all kinds. But I'm happy I'm stayed, and then my family are also happy here.
Thank you very much, Vivian. And I know the feeling. And I really think that your dad can know as well. Or at least that's what I think about my mom as well, because she passed away before I was able to come to Canada as well. And that's something that my wife and I always talk about. Like, oh, everything that is happening is because your mom. Everything is happening because your mom is helping us. So I'm sure about what you have shared is very powerful and meaningful. Thank you very much, Vivian. Why trophy? Why and what you were expecting about Canada?
Mine was school. I've always had I've been, I guess I would say I'm lucky to have traveled around for school. Even in high school, I got a chance to study in West Africa, in Ghana. I've also studied in Kenya, being from Uganda. So there was something about traveling and learning away from where you're normally from. But I didn't have any intention specifically of coming to Canada, but my school had they supported me, or they nominated me for a scholarship program here. But they asked the question, in UBC, they presented two opportunities. It was the first time I saw a university that has two campuses. At least mentally, I hadn't really looked into it that way. And there was something curious about UBCO. So that's what really brought me here. And the chance to study somewhere I had never been, was really what it was. And I had no major expectations, because when they offered the opportunity, there was Vancouver and Okanagan. And Vancouver, you can have some expectations. It's a big city. You're going to see a lot of people moving. But Okanagan, you can only, have imaginations. You can't really have so many expectations. So, I just took the chance. I was like, let me go somewhere else.
That's great, and congrats for that scholarship, that help, support. That's powerful. And I'm not impressed because I did my research as well, and I know who you are, and I'm super happy about that. I'm not surprised. I know that you earned it and you deserve it. Felipe.
Yes.
Why?
Why?
Yes.
I have to confess that Canada was not my first option, right? We had Australia in mind because of the weather, the ocean, the lifestyle, right? But Canada has a huge program for the families. It's pretty family friendly, right? So in Australia, you have to pay school for kids. So I have 3 kids, $10,000 per year. So $30,000 per year for my kids. I couldn't afford. So, and also the distance is sometimes it's 2 days from my hometown to Sydney, for example. And so we started studying about other places, and Canada came up. the biggest challenge when we were there is like the climate, like the weather. I'm not. Now I like the winter, but at that time I didn't. And yeah, everything below plus 15 is cold for me. So I think it's like 7-8 months here is below plus 15, maybe 7. Yeah. So yeah. So family first, right? So and the thing is that the funny is like we plan to stay here just for 5 years. That was the main plan. But after 1 week, right, Juanita, we decide to stay longer, maybe forever. We don't know still.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And yeah, whether for Latin people could be hard. I'm Latin as well.
Yeah.
I understand that. Thank you very much,
No
Felipe.
problem.
Janet. Why and what you were expecting about Canada?
Why Canada? I will say because the people, for the high immigration numbers that we are, and because Canadians are polite and very nice. And we all know that other countries are not like that. So somebody who's coming to learn the language, it's very important to feel confident and support with people. You know, like the first time that when I arrived, I was in Toronto. The first time I went to a supermarket, I was looking for something, and then I didn't even know how to say it, and a lady came to me with the translator and helped me. So, you know, it's like by myself here in a big city, trying to eat, get food, basic things. So that's why Canada. And my expectations were, to be honest, I was coming for a year only, so I didn't have more expectations that improve my English. But after that year, as I said before, it was so good that I stayed. Yeah, so I will say.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Ask me why.
You already shared a little bit about that. I was thinking a new topic, if that's okay, or you want to add something about the why?
No, that wasn't my decision, you know, and for me, Canada was somewhere like on the moon. So, yeah, there is no question for me why. But I can add something about education and the weather, because, you know, I actually, my first place here in Canada was Regina. It's a Saskatchewan. Yeah. So I lived there for 12 years. And, you know, now working with the newcomers, when they come to BC, and you know, sometimes complaining how tough is here something. And I always can offer, you know, there are some provinces there where you can find job sooner and everything. And I'm mentioning Saskatchewan or Manitoba, and I can see fear in their eyes. Because, you know, February, for example, in Regina, it's like every single day, 28th or 29th day in February, minus 35. And with a wind chill, minus 35, yeah.
I've stayed in Saskatchewan for a couple, actually a semester. It goes minus 50.
Yeah, it's nice, and you know, really, my son, he went to school, and it's very nice when in the morning you can get that message from school district saying, you know, today is minus 45 is the wind chill, so our buses, they are not working today, please bring your kids on your own. So they never stop working. And when it's here in Vancouver or in Kelowna, minus, I don't know, 15 and snowfall, and people don't know what to do. So it's not so bad. It's not winter yet. Yeah, and education, I was going to add about UBC. And UBCO, you know, I'm a learner. I love to learn. And when I saw first time UBC in Vancouver, that waterfront ocean, I was just, my dream was, please, like just go there for second, third education, but just study there. It's a miracle, I think, for people who come here for studying. It's just, I don't know, you have everything. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, thank you very much.
Wasn't your question.
You touch very important things, and thank you very much. And that makes me, that helped me a lot to do the transition on the next topic that I want to start. And let's talk about what were we doing back in our countries, and how we start our transformation as immigrants and as newcomers, as permanent residents maybe, as and start blending into society here in Canada, because that's a huge step. I'll start just mentioning very briefly that I came to Canada first to study film production in 2010 at Vancouver Film School. Then I stayed for another year there, and then went back. I started working in a movie, and then another movie, and then that helped me to immigrate here in Canada. I had a lot of experience hiring people, crew, artists. I was part of an animation studio that grew from 8 crew members to 300 employees. And as a head of production, I interviewed them, most of them, if not all of them. When I moved to Canada, I was around 29, 30. Yeah, I'm gonna be 5 years here with my wife. I was hired here in a local studio, Jetty Farm, to produce a show, Pete the Cat. And my first day, I had to interview because I had to hire 80 people. And I have to interview an internship and a student. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be super smooth, an expert. I have a lot of experience. I remember that he was 17 years old, and I panicked. I was like, I don't know, not even how to say hi. My name is Juan. I was like shaking, my legs were like my voice was breaking. So I like to say that when I moved to Canada, I wasn't 29 or 30. I was around 8 years old. I become like a child. I was like panicking. The name of my company is called Valiente because I want to label it here. That means brave, bravery. And for me, I'm in the pursuit of becoming the same person that I used to be back in Mexico. Because after 5 years, I feel like I'm like maybe 28, not yet 35. But yeah, with the support of programs like KCR, my friends that are here, the people that I'm knowing every day, it has helped me to start feeling more comfortable with the language, with the culture. So yeah, it is a huge step to move to a different country. How was your experience, Vivian, in that sense?
That one, when we moved here, we are moved as immigrant here as skilled worker. My husband used to be a computer hardware working at FedEx. So he used that experience and education as the main applicant. I'm the spouse, although if I can speak English and I have a bachelor degree, our case can be added a few points. In that case, I'm also a bonus of this package. But he happened to be those kind of guy, hate computer. So before we moved here, but also he's a smart, okay, that's sweet. Before we moved here, he already decided I want to be my own boss. But for sure, not for computer, not for IT business. So he searched online what kind of family business he can run. So you name it, coffee shop, a flower shop, dry cleaning, convenience store, mailbox. So we already have a few option, and then how much money we can prepare for this kind of business. Pretty much is we buy the job. We bought one and both of us will work there, hope it can cover our pay to survive a few months, years. So the first thing we land here, and the way, at that time I'm not sure it's Google or what, I think it's not Google, but anyway, we find a real estate agent, help us to looking for jobs, business, it's a business agent. So we checked a few mailbox, store, dry cleaning store, a few convenience store, and we choose one in New Westminster. The previous owner is a Korean couple, retired. And then we bought it, run it, and then after 1 year, I think the business agent come back saying, hey, there's another convenience store on sale. Very close, a few blocks away. You can easily handle it by you too. At the time, we're still young, naive. Think, wow, why not? But it actually turned out if you want to run 2 convenience stores, a couple, with a few extra hands, you need to work 16 hours per day. It's not fun. Finally, the good thing is one of our helpers think we are making money, want to buy the business. And so we run the 2 stores together for about 2 or 3 years. And then the helper, that also a couple, they took over one. And we are so relieved. And then we have a pause and think, do we want to continue doing this forever? And at that time, Walmart is not in every community. And so corner stores still have a niche market. And then we are lucky we made the decision. At that time, I'm already more than 30 years old. If we want to have kids, we need to make a plan. So I say, I don't want to run convenience store anymore. I don't want to be, you be my boss. We fight all the time. It's a common opinion. If you talk with a wife, work for the husband, 99% of the wife will not be happy working for the husband. So, and then he say, sure. So you go home, you prepare for kids, and then the kids was born. I stay home, almost finish my maternity leave. Although as a self-employee, you don't get paid for maternity leave, you just cover yourself. And at the time, I think about, there is no convenience store place for me to go back to. And then, what's the next step? I do appreciate, or I do have experience working as an accountant back in China. And then I know that accountant is one of the jobs that's easy to be retrained to have relatively good job opportunity here. And so I went to BCIT for a course first. To be honest, it's too simple. So I say, let's move up. I told myself, let's check out whether there's any quicker program. So I found the UBC, they have a diploma program. It's called the DAP, Accounting Diploma Program. So it's for people who already have bachelor degree, but in different subjects like statistics, music, physics, and they want to transfer to accounting. They have a 1 year full-time program. So I finished that at the time for sure. I live in Coquitlam. The beautiful UBC campus is at the very, very west end. And I don't drive. I took a bus, transferred 3 bus, 2 hours one way. And my mom is so supportive, taking care of the young boy at home. So that one for 1 year, I graduated with high score. I'm very good at exams. But the next obstacle is how to find a job. I do have, and then at the time I noticed no one pay attention to your scores. What you can use is you have a diploma. Whether it's UBC, I'm not sure whether it add any points. And then every advice I get is ask your friends, relatives. Everyone's first job is get from what network you have on hand. So I do have 1 or 2 friends in Vancouver, and in every gathering, I told them I'm looking for jobs. So one of them is so nice. She didn't say anything at the gathering, but after a few days, she told me, if you don't care about low pay, you can work for our company to have an opening position. I appreciate it very much. It's really low pay. And I live in Coquitlam. The working place is in Richmond. It's 1 hour drive, but at least I put my foot in the company as an accountant. I still contact the friends. She also moved on to other better pay job. Then after 1 year, then I'm confident that my skills can still be used in Canada. We speak the same language. The tools, the concept, the skills, software I'm familiar with. I'm prepared for the next move. The good thing is, the first job, you need to find yourself. The second job, you have a recruiter to help you. And then I moved to the next job. And then that's easier if you are determined to have a career goal. You can set it and check out the job listing for the next level job you want to do. You know, some of the experience, you need to gain it, learn it, obtain it, either by volunteer or by self-learning, right? And then the first job is the hardest one. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Vivian. That's great to hear, and I feel like we can all connect with those type of experience. What was Felipe from Brazil?
Yes.
And what is Felipe right now? Who is Felipe right now?
Felipe right now?
If you can start sharing us what you were doing in Brazil.
Okay, in Brazil, yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then how
Yeah.
are you doing
Yeah.
right now in your transformation of
Sure.
Yeah.
My last work in Brazil, I used to work for a Chilean company. I think you know the company, CMPC. It's one of the biggest corporation for cellulose, which is the raw material for paper. They have 18 sites in all America, and one site that I used to work is they have 7,000 employees, so it's a huge company. And I was in charge of sales and operation planning there for the paper department, and I had like a nice career there, a good work. And when I moved to here, I started working to the brick in the warehouse lifting furniture. That was my first job here. I remember, I think 6 or 7 months after we moved, my father-in-law, he passed. My wife, she had to go to Brazil for his funeral. And I stayed with my 2 younger kids. And at that time, I was working 3 places and doing college at the same time. And I was doing deliveries, I skipped the dishes, and I had to bring them with me in the car. And to entertain them, I would say, oh, I have to deliver this food. You guys hide from me. When I return to the car, I have to find you guys. So I did it like for 20 days. So like I changed totally my life to be here. And that's my first stage was survive, making money to pay my bills. We saved money, amount of money, but we need to work as well. And my wife, she was working full time, and I was working part time. I could only work part time, but as I said, I used to do some like small jobs, right? So this was the first stage. Second stage, after we settled down a little bit better, I started focusing my immigration status, right? So I started like looking for a job that could support me in my because I was pretty much close to graduated, and so I start, instead of like return back to my specialties, I decided to find something that I could give me all the support for. I apply for my PR, right? And so I started working for Canadian Red Cross, which I worked there for 2 years and a half. I ended up, my last position there, I was I was coordinator for the health program. Pretty much they provide medical equipment for the community. And I was in charge for the program from Vernon to Penticton, the whole Okanagan. And after that, so I got my PR, and so I said, okay, so now I will go back to my where I used to work like for 15 years in the sales department, right? So and I applied for there's a company called National City and Mobility. They provide medical equipment as well, but it's a private company, and they have a branch here in Kelowna. It's an American company, and I was the branch manager. I worked there for 13 months, and 2 months ago I started as a sales operations manager at Skytrack, which is a provider of connectivity and mapping solution for aircrafts. So it's a great opportunity that I'm having right now, and if people don't know me, they have no idea. I work hard and have to study at the same time. 3 kids, a wife, no support, like family support, because we used to have my mom, my mother-in-law to support us, and yeah. So that's pretty much my story.
Thank you very much, Felipe. You touched super sensible points that I just want to share my thoughts very quickly. Dealing with uncertainty, I can imagine those periods when you move and all the changes that you were facing, plus the challenges, plus learning the new ways, the new house. Everything that combined could be very stressful. That could be very chaotic. And especially dealing with uncertainty, like how I'm gonna get from A to B. Once you are in B, it's like, yes. But when you are in a transition or in like not 100% sure of what's gonna happen tomorrow, it could be hard. And congrats, because it sounds that a success story. It sounds very important what you are doing, and yeah, like thank you very much. Oksana, can you share a little bit about what you were doing back home? What you were thinking when you heard that proposal that, hey, let's move to Canada and then start a new life? How was that?
So I probably didn't mention from the beginning, I'm from Ukraine, from the capital city, from Kyiv. And that time, that year, and that day when my husband, surprised me with this news about Canada, I was employed, and I also, as a Felipe, I've worked at a huge international company and had possessed a great position as a manager in a crisis management team. I was really happy. I was quite busy. Again, it's a capital city, and I was really young. I had few projects. Actually, my life was, fulfilled with everything. And then this job offered an opportunity to move to Canada, and and actually, I think a few weeks before I left, I got a new job offer, and it was my dream job. But I decided to follow my husband. No regrets, honestly. And I started here, as I mentioned, without speaking English. There are no many, options. And my first job was cake maker in Dairy Queen. Yeah, ice cream creams and Dairy Queen. They hired me without even English. I had something, so I was learning English on my own, and they just hired me, and I enjoy it. It was completely different from what I was doing back home. Management, crisis management, and then ice cream cakes. But I love ice cream. I tried so many different kinds of ice cream, so it was kind of, another dream of my job of, and that was my start. And I have to tell people who came, and especially new country, a lot of different barriers. And if people have high expectation, I didn't have any expectation. That's probably why I didn't feel so bad. I just enjoyed what I had. I accepted everything. Okay, Dairy Queen, wow, great. Dairy Queen, ice creams, I love it. I started learning English right on that workplace, and I still think that's the best option and best improvement. It's when you work in this environment. I always had a pencil and paper with me. Any word, I was bothering everyone. How do you spell it? How do you pronunciate it? What it means? I remember my first boss, she was training me, and she kept saying awesome, awesome. And I'm like, what is that? Awesome. How? And awesome. I can hear O, right? And again, it's my fifth language, actually, English. Before I studied German for a long time, and in German you hear what is written, right? And awesome. It took me a while to find that word, and the meaning. But yeah, you just keep doing. You accept what you have, and you just gain Canadian experience. I gained Canadian experience. I met different people. They share with me their experience. That was my first job, actually, and then maternity leave, very similar, to my colleagues. I stayed at home for a while, and it was a tough time because here in Canada, that child-minding system is different. It's expensive. Everyone knows probably how much is it, to pay for daycare for monthly. And I know that a lot of my friends, they started job just to get Canadian experience, but whole salary they pay for a daycare. Just to gain experience, you can put it on your resume, and you can use it for your future career, right? And that was my first job. Second one, after maternity leave, I decided to find something finally that related maybe to my skills, my background, and I applied for a job at immigration company. At least I can use my languages, right? I'm a teacher also, so I am attentive to details. I can do this. And after a few tests and interviews, they hired me. And that was a great job, Again, my English just, I didn't even need courses after that, but I didn't mention that during my maternity leave, definitely I started English at the classes. So unfortunately, we didn't have so many opportunities for newcomers that time when I arrived. Now, you know, KCR or any other organization in different places, different organization, you can meet people who can listen to you and at least direct you in some, you know, ways and tell them you can find this and this there and there. That time I didn't even know how to create a resume, you know. But yeah, it was the probably my second job here, but the first serious position, and so I can say that almost all my life, like here in Canada, I work with the newcomers. Starting that time at an immigration company, then non-profit organization. I'm here to assist newcomers, and now I can apply all my skills and knowledge from in my background from back home here. Yeah, that's my story, almost.
Thank you. Yeah, I see two things here that I want to just briefly mention that Felipe mentioned it as well, and Oksana. Like being in a new country, in a different country, and not having relatives or family around you when you have kids, or when you are like, for example, my wife and I, we don't have kids, but we don't have family around, so that could be also a challenge. And even if it doesn't sound too hard, like you add one level of challenge and then you add another language, so it could be tricky. And I really want to highlight your positivity, because that's super important. I'm considering myself positive as well, and for like all depends on how you approach the situations. And I like what you were saying. That's the best environment to learn English. That's the best way to switch from a environment back home that maybe was stressful, that maybe was a challenge, and then a different one that it's completely new. You had a good mindset, or at least that's how I interpreted it there when you were in your new job at Dairy Queen. So I really resonate with that. Thank you very much for sharing.
Now I can do, you know, ice cream cakes. You know, so it's always, if you can learn something new, I'm always open to this, and I suggest people be open. You never know, maybe you can use it you will use it in your future, right?
Completely agree. Now we want the recipes from. Janet, how was your experience? Like, what were you doing in Canada before coming? Sorry, in Chile before coming to Canada?
Well, I was quality control for the competition. Actually, I was working for Arauco, which is another huge timber industry. So yeah. But yeah, I was quality control. I had, a good job. I was the one, telling people, yeah, it's good enough, it's not good, we have to change it, all this stuff. And when I came to Canada, I started cleaning rooms. I was housekeeper for about 5 years. I don't even know how to got the job, because my interview was moving my hands, trying to figure out what they were trying to say. I think they really needed the people, so that's why they hired me. But when it was a process to learn English, that's what I came for. And I always remember, and I tell everyone, if you don't know the word, you always have other words to use. You always have different ways to explain. I always remember when I was cleaning a room, one of the guests required a crib. At that time, I didn't know what a crib was. I didn't have a dictionary with me. So when I had to call, I was checking, and I said, crib. Of course, my accent, they didn't understand. It's like, what are you asking for? A crib. He was getting so frustrated, and me as well. So I said, where baby sleeps. Ah, a crib. That's what I was saying. It's like, so little things that you learn, and you put yourself out there, that you have to, learn and be humble for corrections, I will say. Then after housekeeping, I always put goals, little goals for myself. And my next goal was to be housekeeping, but in the top golf floor of the Fairmont. It was still cleaning rooms, but I was still with a little thing that is the top floor, different standards. You are in contact with other people. You can talk more with the guests. So little goals, step by step. Don't be hard on yourself. That's what I will say. Then I met Ben, my fiance. We decided to move to Kelowna 3-4 years ago, and it was middle of the COVID. So everyone was saying, you have a good job, because by that time I was supervisor in front desk over there. So you have a good job. Why are you planning to move to Kelowna? Do you have a job? It's like, no. So what are you going to do there? It's like, okay, I'm ready for a new life, for a new adventure. So never stop, don't be scared of start everything again. So when I moved to Kelowna, I started in front desk supervisor in one hotel over here. It was totally different at the Fairmont because, high standards. And over here I had to deal with a lot of homeless people. That kind of bring me down, that not, all the guests, it's, rich and all that stuff. I had to learn to deal with them, be more human, humble, understand. And then KCR came my way. I was one of the mentees for their program. They put me with this great mentor. By that time, I was working front desk. I had a part-time job in a retirement home, and my mentor was giving me homework like if I was in school. So one of these homework that he gave me is go out there, look 5 companies that match your values. In Chile, you never do that. It's like, what, like they just check your degree in university and then that's all. But I didn't know, so I had to learn. And I started looking for companies that match what I believe. And that's how I ended up in the company that I work for now. Right now I can say I help with the events at KF Center for Excellence. It's the aviation museum close to the airport. If you have been here, come to see me. It's a great space. Now I'm happy, and I can't believe when you think what I was doing 10 years ago and what I'm doing now, it's different. And I'm happy.
Congrats, and thank you very much for opening your heart and your experience.
Thank you.
I truly believe that these meaningful stories can change the narratives, can help us, each other, as Canadians, as immigration. So thank you very much. And I want to highlight something that you mentioned, and it's key. It's important to celebrate our small accomplishments during the days. It doesn't have to be during a year or during a month, like even during the days, because I'm of the idea that if we celebrate our victories, we keep ourselves motivated, we have a positive mindset. Life and daily routines can be challenged for everyone. So it is a good advice, and it seems that it helped you in your journey.
Yep.
And thank you very much.
Thank you.
Trophy, could you share us a little bit about that? About what were you doing back home, and what are you doing now?
Before I was a student. I was in high school. And I came as a student. My experience has been learning, but I think what I've learned from this experience and where I am now is that learning is continuous. It's there every day, and it's not limited to what an institution has. Though what institution gives is important, it's not limited to that. My experience here, my first job was as a dishwasher, and I remember the first day I was wet. For the first week, I was always wet. And then saying, okay, on the day that I leave this place dry, that's when I would have grown. But also because it was so tedious, especially when it gets busy and the demand is there, and the only way I could survive my hours instead of always looking at when the clock is almost done is by telling myself, okay, how am I getting better? How am I getting better? Or how am I learning? Okay, how do I not get myself wet? But that process also told me not to fear. Like the wetness was what I didn't want to come, failure, right? And so after that, I realized that when I was at school, I looked around and said, oh, I'm in a space where there's experts on so many fields, so many students who are eager to learn and daring to push a lot of their initiatives. How do I maximize this experience? And my experience was, I would look at all the courses and look at what I had to study. Of course, I had what I had to do, go to work after, but in between the time spaces, what are the classes that I can walk in and sit into? Or what initiatives or presentations are happening in between, and how do I go and be there and just learn? And what happened is how I met so many people, but also realized how much this world is interdisciplinary, intercultural, intergenerational. It's interdependent, whether we like it or not. And this is where, to me, the value of connection, culture came. And also the importance of practical learning. During my period, there was a student who was in the arts faculty who wanted to start a clothing line. And he came to a friend of mine and came to us and said, oh, I'm looking for support, because he thought, well, like I was economics. And I'm like, well, that's more business, not necessarily economics. But I took the challenge because to me, I was asking myself why he thought of asking. But second, I had told myself that a business like clothing is something I would never do because it doesn't make sense. There's so much competition, etc. I had an interview with him, so we sat and talked about it, and I asked him a list of questions, and all the questions I asked told me not to be part of it. It didn't make sense. It was very idealistic, hopeful, but there was just something about the way I'm like, why are you daring into this space when there's clearly no hope, right? And that's really why I became part of it. I just was like, I want to see what this looks like, what this person is daring into. And that experience was interesting because it went from, the first night, had only $500 and sold the t-shirts, and I remember they all sold out and we had double the amount. But the people that were around and the connections, because of this idea and this dream. And so we kept on growing. I remember there was one point that was so, at least for me, was scary when people were lining up outside the event space for launches. So that was just that the ideas in the mind, the dream space, and then the reality. But also that life is continuous. It doesn't have an arrival point. So yes, we reached goals financially in one place, but that wasn't an end. It was actually a new beginning. So the summary, I think how I'll simply summarize it is, in my experience, has just taught me how to look at life differently, to appreciate how it flows and how it goes, and also to appreciate the ups and downs. One of the experiences for me was becoming president of the student union at the university. Why that was interesting is when it started, the statements were, oh, if you do the demographics, the international population is small, Um, um, what's the point of you even daring to do this? No one has done it before. And personally, my personality, I'm generally a quiet person, and I don't like to go and nag people for something. But because of the connections it was a chance to experiment with true, honest expression of an idea. Is what's our dream? What's the purpose of our unity in any case? But it's the idea of having come from somewhere else and saying, my human experience is valid enough to contribute to any space in the world. And being able to accomplish that feat was not because, the first or any of that kind, but because the idea, a concept, a dream, can formulate into reality. So the human potential. My interests are purely on the human potential, but the human potential that comes from our connections and from the breaking of the barriers of what we think something is supposed to be and what it is. And the stories that hold us tight in terms of cultural expectations and the process of breaking that and seeing new possibilities that could emerge. So that's my experience. I say I'll summarize it that way. Yeah.
Whoa! I want to just take a second to digest all these stories that we are just listening tonight, because wow, they are powerful. We are hearing a lot of meaningful things, and I want to be able to summarize and highlight a little bit of that. And Joffy, thank you very much for opening your heart, your mind. And I feel like for me to highlight the social skills, because we have been mentioning, like in different ways, the social skills that humans, not just immigrants, humans require to interact. As an immigrants, we are not expecting to face that challenge. And probably that's called the cold water that we receive when we move to Canada, not just from the lake. It is because I feel like we face a challenge in the social skills. We are learning the language, we are learning the culture, we are facing challenges as other Canadians are facing as well. But the social skills are important. We have mentioned that, an environment, job environments could help us that. And just trying to connect the path from you, it has been evolving. Trophy mentioned that life keeps going. And that's something that last year I've been trying to remember. Life keeps moving, and be conscious of what you have now or what you have in the past and now you don't have, because that's something that could keep you moving and pursuing your dreams. I remember a line in a movie, Life of Pi, that says that if it's not happy or it doesn't feel success, that means that it's not the end. And Trophy mentioned that we can find value from the downs, not just from the ups. And I truly believe in that. I really appreciate the challenges. Right now, I can totally say that we are facing a challenge. My wife and I were starting our companies, and it's all new for us. But we are finding a safe place and pushing each other to evaluate this period, because we truly believe on what Trophy said. Life is gonna keep moving and it's gonna take us in the right direction, whether if we do this or we don't do it. Thank you very much. And we're getting closer to finish this conversation, but I also want to mention and talk about this I'm gonna take this as an opportunity to make a transition on the KCR program and how it's helping our community, how it's impacting in a positive way lives from newcomers, but also for Canadian employees, companies, and other as a society. Could you tell us a little bit of the programs for mentorship that we have, or how they do it briefly? Just like feel free to say or mention.
Thank you. About mentorship, probably Mauricio is the best person to, tell you about this program. But just in general, as you ask me, KCR is a non-profit organization in Okanagan, in central Okanagan, that helps newcomers, immigrants. I can say everyone except of visitors, but still some visitors, they can come to our office and at least to get some information, And we help them to settle here, to feel, I believe, more comfy, more homey here at their new home, because I believe they come to Canada to find here a new home or second home. We help them to make friends, to be involved in community. Same happening from another side, Okanagan community, they have opportunity to meet our newcomers. We have different departments. We have 4 departments. I work in immigrant departments, and we help different, again, people with different immigration statuses settle here in Okanagan. We help them with pre-employment. It means that we do everything to prepare a person to find a job on their own, So we not have a list of openings and please come and you can get a job, no. But starting with creating a resume, then interview skills. Canadian workplace culture is completely, I believe, different from other countries, from our back homes. And we always have to consider these culture pieces, just culture difference. And we try to share with our newcomers our experience. That's why I'm actually here, and it was probably 10% or 5% of all my experience here in Canada, but I'm pretty sure that I have a lot to share with people, to encourage them, to help them to find themselves. And also, as my colleagues mentioned here, one of the main thing I think it's self-confidence. Many newcomers, I know they face barriers, and it's a stress already when you just move to another country, but they not believe in themselves. They always think, I'm not good enough to do this or start this, or maybe I can't or something. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe that Canada needs you, your skills, your knowledge that you already brought from your experience from your home. And you just have to find that way, to apply your skills. And if you have a barrier like a language or any other, just go face this barrier and do something. And KCR are here to assist you, what I can say. Like me and my colleagues, we just always trying our best to do this. And mentorship program, which is a great, and thank you to Menti. You see here one of our Menti people who already a long time here in Canada, or Canadians who ready to share their experience, who ready to show their life in Canada again, to help people to believe in themselves, to help newcomers who's, I don't know, stressed out, completely stressed out, unfocused, and don't know what to do, to just, give them some hug, power, and say, let's go. Yeah. If you have any questions, I'm open to answer, but in general, it's like this. And I'm glad that KCR is here, and now people, they're not alone on their way. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah.
Oksana, for that great description of what you are doing and KCR is doing. The first day, exactly the first day that my wife and I arrived in Kelowna, we went to El Taquero as Mexicans. And a good friend from there suggested us, you guys should go to KCR. KCR, and I'm always like, yeah, okay, let's listen why we have to go to KCR. And we went there, and we ended up having English program that was key. As I mentioned, I moved with a job. I was blessed to move to Jetty Farm, but my English was more broken than it is right now, and it was hard for me. So KCR helped me a lot on that end because they do all as well English programs, or connect with reference with English teachers. That was back 4 years ago. And also, a few years or months later, my wife was able to join a program that was in a partnership or associated with the Okanagan College. And that was a huge shift in my wife's lives here in Canada, because she was able to apply to her dream job here in Canada in a marketing agency. So yeah, KCR is key for our community. And Janet, can you share us a little bit of your experience?
Yeah. So as I mentioned before, I joined to the mentorship program, but not only that, they helped me to validate and translate my diploma in Chile, which is just learned from Paola that is going to help me if I want to go back to college. I don't need to do high school again, because thanks to them, I have already the papers that I need. And when I did it back then, I wasn't thinking about that, but now I am and I have it. And they make me take some courses to improve for interviews, my resume, my cover letter. So little things that, it gives you a push. They are there for you, and you became friends. I still have my mentor coming to see me where I work. We have some events for him, of course, for free. We don't charge him. But yeah, it's the connections that you make with the people. It's amazing. And that's one of the keys that everyone says here, you, Vivian, it's networking, making strong and true connections. That's what is the key, I will say. And yeah, wherever you go, be honest, humble, open to receive feedback. That's very important. Today I just got one because I keep saying, I owe you money, and then say, no, you owe money, owing. I don't even remember now, but it's like, oh my God, 10 years here and I'm using the wrong words, so that's things that you have to be humble. But KCR came and introduced me not to only the job that I have, but people and friends till today. Yeah.
May I just add something? I'm very happy to be part of KCR because I'm a people person, and the best thing what I have here, I meet different people from different countries with different culture every single day. Every single day, I'm listening to different stories. I can share my story, and I'm trying everything and like do my best to help those people to find themselves here. And you know, I have now like friends everywhere. Now, I remember somebody asking me, so I love travel. So I think almost in every city in Canada, I already have my former participants, or I know people I assist before. And I can go somewhere, just call and would you like to see me? And yeah, I'm so happy. And even today, again, I met new people. That's great. I think that's probably one of our goal in our life. Right. Yeah. So please come to KCR and send your friends. Yeah, that's the main thing, not to feel and not to be alone here. Yeah.
That's awesome. And that helped me in the final point that I want to mention. But I just want to add that I feel like the most important thing, at least right now in this moment for me, that I have learned here in Canada from this amazing and warm culture is acknowledging the land, acknowledging the community, how Canadians build communities, how they help each other, how organizations like KCR are here to support the community, the new immigrants, and Mauricio that has invited us, I think has done a wonderful job sharing those values in this panel. Like, we are building community, we are sharing stories, and I think that that's super important. Thank you very much, Mauricio. Thank you very much, KCR. And just to conclude, in a brief sentence, I would like to invite you, to everyone here in this panel, to give an advice of yourself, but for that person that came the first day in Canada. What would you let them know? Like, what would you say to yourself to the first day when you arrived in Canada? We can start with you, Vivian.
It's a tough question. It's like if someone asks you if you go back time and make a different decision, my answer is always, I will be still me. You won't make a decision beyond your knowledge capacity. So I'm still learning every day. Hope tomorrow I can be a better one. So even I go back time to tell me that time advice, that me at the time won't change. Even it's come from me, myself. So my advice is I will give myself a hug, a smile. That's it.
Oh, awesome. I love it. Thank you. Thank you so much. Felipe, what will be your advice?
You have a great smile, by the way.
That's my skill.
I had two big lessons that I'd like to share. First one is I always wanted to listen more than speak, and with this English barrier, I had to listen more than speak. I know in Portuguese I have to improve this as well, but in English just for now. So this is good. Nowadays I'm a good listener, so we have to always see the good side of the bad sides. The other thing is ego. I thought I was a humility guy, but I was not. My ego was for a long time my biggest concern here. And forget it. You have to be humble from the heart. And if you're honest with yourself, I like to say if you are organic with yourself, you can face any challenge. And I never regret since 1 second since I moved to here. And yeah, so that's my advice for those who are like here for a short time. Don't worry, you're not alone. Everybody suffer. Everybody has the same, not the same, but everybody has like barriers, issues. It hurts all the time.
Thank you so much, Mauricio. I really resonate with your story, your experience. I always was interrupting my college, my teamwork, and here I was the quietest. And here I was like, and I'm still the quietest. But I enjoy it, and I become a good listener. And I always had imposter syndrome that Oksana touched a little bit of that. And also you mentioned that be humble, that's key. Thank you very much, Felipe.
Can I break the protocol? Just an announcement.
Yes.
So March 9, Brazoca, which is Brazil and Okanagan all together, we are going to promote a big party, a carnival, Brazilian carnival. So you can follow You guys can follow our Instagram. All the information are there for tickets, and it's gonna be a big party. It's a Brazilian party. We never fail. So please. That's awesome.
You have some word we can order, like web just
We're going
Brazoca.
to release it tonight. We're
Okay.
going to release it tonight on social media.
Awesome.
And I'll share with you guys.
Okay,
We're
Brazoca,
releasing a
Facebook,
live
Brazoca,
band
yeah.
from Vancouver. So it's Brazilian.
Yeah.
So it's
I also need to interrupt since you do a promotion. This is also advertisement, okay? City of Kelowna is always hiring. Subscribe to the career opportunities. It's one thing is for public sector, the job posting is not available in the Indeed job site. So if you want to looking for jobs in public sector, whether federal, provincial, municipal, you need to go to their website to subscribe to that job website. That's my posting.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, good advice.
What would be your advice to yourself for the first day that you came to Canada?
Oh, it's that's tough to say because I think I was on my right pathway, and yeah, that was me a long time ago, and I'm still the same. But probably one thing to be, and what I keep saying to my participants, to be more self-confident and believe in yourself, not be shy. Because you know that feeling when you have a language barrier, you don't speak that language, English, I mean. It seems like, oh, you're not smart enough just because you don't speak this language. But just think, I speak 4 more languages. I couldn't be not good enough, but sometimes you feel so down because of this. And it's really tough to believe in yourself and also be proud of yourself with those small achievements, right? And so try to show people who you are inside and what do you know. Actually, what was happened at my job at immigration company, my English was like a level 4, something like this. And I just came, you know, that was maternity leave. I was boring, like I stayed at home for a long time. I needed a job and I just came, and it was test. So I had to check RCC papers, application. So I worked for an immigration company, applying different application for people who want to come to Canada. And I passed one test, second and third, like with a level 4. You know, just level 4, and it helped me to, you know, to see myself from other side. Okay, I'm really, you know, I deserve it. And actually, I was told by my boss the same. Like, I didn't even expect that you know this. Again, because of language barrier, but it's just temporary. So you already valued, and you means a lot for yourself and for another people. Be self-confident and I don't know, and believe in the best.
Yeah, that's important, and that just made me think about how important it is being self-confident. Also, rely on your friends' connections. Something that has helped me a lot is my friends. As Mauricio mentioned, for us as a Latino community, Saul is doing a magnificent job with that, because as Mauricio mentioned, all our connections are thanks because of him, Saul.
Yes.
He is a Latino community face.
He's a leader.
The leader, yes, a community leader. Thank you very much.
He really is.
When I first went to one of their networking events, I met a lot of people, but I met a woman that said, "Hey, I think you're gonna be friends of my husband. I want you to come and have dinner with us." I went. He invited me to start sport climbing in Kelowna Creek, and I haven't stopped climbing since then. Every weekend, I met wonderful friends that are here supporting my entrepreneurship because Saul. So go to your community associations. I think that we have mentioned a few of them here, the Brazilian, Chinese, I think. But yeah, that's a very good advice, KCR. Make friends. What would be your advice to yourself for the first day that you came here to Canada?
I will say make mistakes and be scared is fine, but don't waste too much time focusing on that. Cry if you have to cry and move on. That I will say to myself. Yeah.
That was powerful. That was
Great.
great. Trophy.
I think what I would say is you're your first friend, and so learning how to be truly your best friend. The second one is, just as you said, write down, especially in the hardest times or even when you've started, all your thoughts as honestly as possible, so that later that will be the map to guide you when you come back full circle to that. But conclusively, I think even gathering from this assembly is that the importance of those connections. So very grateful to you, Mauricio, because the reason we are here a lot is because of the role you play, and the connections, because of those new connections are the new possibilities that have happened. New possibilities like coming to the event that you're hosting, and so that we can have more cultural connections. And another thing is the value of your culture and the value that it has had. One of the blessings I've had here is being with so many international students, so people from different worldviews who've taken the chance to travel and have to shift your mindset and the value of that knowledge and experience. And so with an organization like KCR, the importance of working with the community leaders in creating not just the introduction part where people have come in, which is amazing and a great work up till here, but how is that sustained and continuous so that your event is continuous next year, because the value it brings is not just because of the party, but it's also what we learn from that. And finally, it's necessary to party. Please party well.
Well, and lastly, I just want to mention thank you everyone for joining us on this conversation. I hope that you enjoy it as much as I and we did. It means a lot to us, your participation. And I think we just have a few minutes, like maybe for 3 questions, if there's any. If not, we can. There's one.
Yeah, okay. Oh, is it time or we don't have time?
Yeah, go. Paula.
Okay, yeah, okay. Hi, I'm Paula. I am also an immigrant. I just became Canadian. Everyone, I mean, I don't want to take too much time, but it was great. I know most of you. And my one question is like, what makes you stay here in Kelowna? Not like in Canada, obviously. Canada is big and it's very different. But what maybe in 2 sentences also, if you can, like what makes you stay here in Kelowna?
The weather.
Weather.
That is your way to the point.
And nature.
Sorry?
Nature. Yeah, weather, nature.
I have a kind of a urban side and also nature side. And I think Kelowna fill it up both. So like we have like good like place to go, and also if you want to get out of the busy life, it's like 30 minutes from here where you are. Yeah.
It's the people. The people that I've met have kept me here. I thought I would have left a long time ago, but the people have really kept me. But also, there's something about this town that it feels like it's in a place where, because of it's open to defining itself. So there's a lot of opportunity to be creative and to build new things and to try new things. And also because, not so many people, like for where I come from, not so many people know you can really authentically, be yourself in a way and try out new things. That's how I feel,
We got another question. First of all, thank you to Mauricio and great job, Juan, for moderating. All you guys are valientes for being brave and challenge expressing yourself in a different language. I mean, your stories is very inspiring though. And I got a question for each one of you. If you can respond to it, what made you volunteer tonight? What do you think is important also?
Mauricio fooled me.
We all have the same.
I told him I don't want to be a speaker, but I can do group discussion. See? And he said, sure. It's a small, casual. Yeah, that's it.
I think you did great.
Yeah.
I think you did great.
But it's a push to put me there. Okay. So I do want to express why I want to volunteer in general. Is I received a lot of help when I immigrate here during my looking for a job, prepare for interview. Although the friends are in Vancouver, but when I moved here, I do think that I come into an age with family, young kids, and I do see that so many people I met with that may just need some thumb up, like talk, express the anxiety, share the experience, and I regret some of the help I wish I could have when I was younger. So, and then I searched volunteer opportunity in Kelowna, and actually KCI is the first choice in Google search. And then I just say, okay, I give a try, give them an email, and Mauricio is so quick. So the next day, the week, you get a phone call, and then the training in 1 month to get done, and the next month you get an assignment, then on the way to go. Thank you, Mauricio.
The following month, you're speaking the
That's a push.
I agree with you. Mauricio is one of the reasons, but also Saul. Saul, you introduced me to this community here. Thank you very much. You were a reference for me. You know that, right? And also, that's what she said. Like, we have to give back everything that we receive. That's what we have to do. We cannot stay and just receiving, because we receive a lot living here. So let's give it back.
I completely agree with Vivian and Philippa. Same. And what was new for me in Canada to learn about it was volunteering. So many people volunteer here, and it's a great thing. Also, for your employment, for your career, I always tell people volunteering here in Canada consider equal to work experience. So go and do. And you can volunteer in the place you like, right? And do what you like. And gain Canadian experience, improve your English, and again, networking, meet new people. So it's always, it's great. And regarding this event today, I'm glad and I'm so happy that I'm invited. And it was actually last minute inviting, but it was one of my goals and one of my dreams to become a guest speaker. So I'm happy that I'm here. Thank you.
Well, I think for me, it's the fact that I wanted to show to other people that you can do it. And you always have, if you want to grow and improve yourself, there is always help. And yeah, there is no limit.
I think like everybody else, it's truly it's Mauricio. And why that is for me is the connections, the organic connections, but also because he's the highlight of the importance of the people that are passionate about the work of putting people together, the importance of them taking the step to be in those spaces that do it. Because community resources are not just money, because sometimes you get paid, but you still wake up and you don't want to go to where they pay you. But it's the feeling of connection, the feeling of uniting, the feeling of celebration, and going through that human experience together. So that's primary. The second reason is through the work that we've been doing, one of the things we're trying to do is the focus on intercultural exchange. That is not performative. That is pure, that's engaging. And from the little things like, ideas from how to raise children to, business and learning. So one of the goals and dreams is that somewhere, somehow, if I'm still here, if we're still here, would have a intercultural community center that supports not just in after-school programs or new people coming and looking for employment, but places where people can play or come and have drums and share music together without having to compete with all other spaces. And I think that's something that's important in the future to work towards, so that there's be more spaces where people can gather publicly, not just to share stories, but with the intention of how do our connections improve the possibilities of us reaching our human potential, whatever that is. Yeah.
Well, I think, thank you very much, everyone. I want to just extend the appreciation for Spaces to having us tonight. as Trophy was mentioning, having these spaces, these environments that can amplify our voices, that can connect, make us, helping us doing connections, is super powerful. And that's my reason that I wanted to volunteer, that I joined this event, to be able to amplify, to bring back to something to the society and the country that has given me a lot. So when I heard that there will be some brave people in the panel, I said, like, I want to be part of that, and I want to help as much as possible. Thank you very much, everyone. And I would like you to invite you. Yes.
Sorry, guys. So yeah, thank you all for coming. It's a pleasure for us, Spaces, to host this event here. Thank you all for the organizers. Here at Spaces, we really believe that diversity brings innovations, and it's what we want to bring to this space. And also, speaking about Spaces, I just want to say some products that we have. So if you're a professional working from home and wants to have a professional place to work sometimes a week, we have some options for you. If you're looking for a meeting room, we have some options for you. If you're looking for an office space, we have some options for you. And if you're looking for event space, we have an option for you. So that being said, I really think that flexible solutions is one of our things, but one of the biggest things that we offer to our clients is connectivity. So when we are an immigrant and we don't know how to do something, we might look for who knows how to do something. And despite our flexible solution, we can connect you with other members of the community, either to find a job or to find a partnership, to find new clients. So we are here to help. And also, I'd like to ask for a big favor to help us to keep this movement of sponsoring this kind of events. So we have a QR code there. We have a QR code on the column, yeah, that one. And I would like to ask you to scan that QR code and leave us a Google review. With that, I can convince my boss to sponsor this kind of event and bring the community together. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Octavio. And thank you, everyone. I think we're gonna break for a little bit of time of gathering, social gathering, networking. We will have a booth and a camera if someone wants to express your thoughts. We are trying to build a platform to empower brave people, entrepreneurship, someone that wants to create content. We have nice light, a nice microphone that we can help you to make an awesome reel to promote your business right now for free. So thank you very much, everyone.
Remember, there's coffee from Camilo and tea from Tori.
Thanks.
Help yourself.
Thank you, Juan. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
We made it.
Yeah, made it. Although we were full,
Thank you. Yeah,
Thank you.
great experience.
Let's be honest, for language, you speak German.